We said it heading into the week, man. This was going to be the most challenging team the Vancouver Canucks have played all season long. The Minnesota Wild have been fantastic this year, in terms of their record on the ice, in terms of their individual performances, from their goaltending to their top-tier stars. This team has been the best, if not one of the top 3 best teams in the entire league, holistically, in the 2024-2025 season. And the Canucks were heading into Mini without JT Miller, without Thatcher Demko, without Filip Gustavsson, and with Desharnais, Myers, and Juleson all getting extended roles on that D-core. It wasn't a recipe for success, but the Vancouver Canucks still found themselves a way to make it competitive. They found themselves a way to have the lead heading into the third period. They blew it. They lost in overtime. But they still made things interesting. And I think for a lot of fans who are trying to objectively look at the system, take a look at the teams the Canucks have played, yeah, okay, you need to get yourselves wins against teams like Buffalo and Detroit. You need to get yourselves victories against teams like Pittsburgh, which unfortunately you didn't. But the Vancouver Canucks had themselves 2 straight overtime wins heading into today, and they managed to get an overtime loss in this one against the Wild. If you flip it around, if you say, okay, what if the Canucks beat the Wild in overtime, but they lost in overtime to Buffalo or whatever? That feels a lot better. And admittedly, this game against Minnesota, there were so many chances for either team to finish it off just in the overtime alone that this really could have gone either way. It was a coin flip when you take a look at the quantity of high danger chances going to both teams. If you head over to the Money Puck Deserve to Win-O-Meter and you look at their calculations, sure, Minnesota had themselves the win, but the Vancouver Canucks had the majority of expected goals, and the Deserve to Win-O-Meter was 68% in Vancouver's favor. Especially in the third period, the Canucks had so many opportunities, and you can say they maybe should have had themselves more. There were 2 egregious missed calls in this game. The first one was the Joel Eriksson-Ek hit on Kiefer Sherwood, where he jumps into Sherwood as he is on the boards and absolutely staples him. No charging, no boarding, no nothing. That one was a terrible missed call. And then in the overtime, in the first minute, Kirill Kaprizov ended up tripping the Vancouver Canucks guy on the side. It was Connor Garland, I think it was, as Garland is trying to break the puck up. 2 absolutely egregious missed calls by the referees. I don't normally like to complain about the refs. If you've been watching this YouTube channel for a while, you know that I generally don't like doing that. But there were supposed to be 2 Canucks power plays that they did not get. And combined with the absolute ballistic overtime period that was, you have a Vancouver Canucks team that maybe got screwed over a little bit here. And even though that may be the case, even though I think it's fair to say that Vancouver should have had more opportunities, I also don't think it's fair to say that Minnesota stole the win. Like, oh, they didn't deserve to win this one at all. Like, they had chances, they had opportunities, they have star power, they had power plays, and Kevin Lankinen was playing out of his mind. But, hey, sometimes that's just how it goes. The Minnesota Wild win this one in overtime, 3-2. Let's go over all the goals and all the storylines heading into this one here. First goal of the game scored by the Vancouver Canucks. It is a 1-0 power play goal scored by Quinn Hughes on the man advantage. Garland goes over to Petey. Petey throws it back over to Hughes, and he sends it back over to Petey. It's the 1-2, back and forth. Petey then finds Hughes once more, who rips it towards the goal, and it beats Gustavsson. It beats everybody. We thought that there might have been like a tip in front by Brock Boeser or whatever, but no tip. The NHL.com website rules it as Quinn Hughes' 6th goal on the year. Elias Pettersson with an assist. Connor Garland, of course, getting the assist as well. So those guys are adding to their point totals. Second goal of the game is scored in the second period by Frederick Gaudreau. It is 7 minutes in, and it makes the game 1-1. It's kind of an odd play. Pettersson plays it back over to Quinn Hughes at the point, and Quinn kind of gets tangled up a little bit with Petey as he's back-checking. Hughes tries to throw the puck down into the zone for Jake DeBrusk, but it's a low one because he's getting hit up on the boards there. Brock Faber then takes it, and Brock Boeser pinches in. As the rush comes back the opposite way, Elias Pettersson pinches in once more. So there are literally 3 Wild guys. It's a 3-on-1. with Tyler Myers as the last guy back. Marcus Foligno goes over to Frederick Gaudreau. He takes a shot. It beats Lankinen up high over the glove. It's a really unfortunate defensive breakdown for the Canucks, with multiple guys getting pinned up and pinching, which resulted in a 3-1 rush. You don't want Tyler Myers as the last guy back, and the Wild make Vancouver pay. However, with just a few seconds left in that second period, Vancouver makes it 2-1 as Carson Soucy and Elias Pettersson combine for a Jake DeBrusk goal. Yeah, Carson Soucy getting himself involved on the offense here. He chucks it towards the goal. It's planted right there in the slot. Pettersson backhands it. The rebound is also there loose. And Jakey D ends up putting the puck in the back of the net for yet another goal here on the road. That's his 11th of the season. Pettersson with his second assist of the night. And Carson Soucy getting involved offensively too. In the third period, the Wild quickly strike as they're getting some pressure in on Kevin Lankinen. The puck gets thrown towards the goal, and it is Elias Pettersson out in front who tries to clear it, but instead he just kind of lightly throws it back to the Wild defense. Jake Middleton picks it up, walks right in, shoots, and he scores. A terrible giveaway, one that Elias Pettersson usually does not make, and it results in a 2-2 tying goal here, just a minute 43 into the third period. Now, we had ourselves some other chances, some breakaways, some saves, and some other 2-on-1s that were also thwarted away. It was a really entertaining game, but ultimately the Canucks, you could feel that they were starting to lock down and lock in as this third period continued with chance after chance on Gustavsson. They just could not get it to go. In the overtime, this continued as well. It was a ridiculous overtime here between the Wild and the Canucks. Just labeling off the chances here. Breakaway opportunity for one Joel Sennecke. He gets stopped up by Kevin Lankinen. Just a few seconds later, the Canucks come back in. Erik Brannstrom backdoor tap and stopped by Gustavsson. The Wild, then with a big turnover in their own zone, Marco Rossi lets it go. Pius Suter and Brock Boeser coming in on a 2-on-0. Boeser hits the post. The rebound comes back the opposite way. Rossi to Kaprizov, and the one-timer goes in. I have Kaprizov in however many of my fantasy leagues this year, so I am not terribly disappointed with the result, but Brock Boeser ultimately shoots off the post on his 2-on-0 breakaway opportunity. It results in that big ricochet coming back the opposite way. Pius Suter did a pretty good job to free the puck up and give it over to Boeser, but Suter kind of lagged behind a little bit in the play. Boeser couldn't really pass it back to him unless he passed against the grain in reverse, so Boeser has to shoot. He hits the post, and in his hometown, in the arena where he had his first NHL goal, however many years it was ago, 7 I think it was, Brock Boeser ultimately gives the bounce that gives the Wild the overtime win. And Vancouver, I mean, for all they had in this game, when you think about the schedule, when you think about the injuries, you think about the lack of depth here, oh yeah, this was a great game from the Vancouver POV. You can say they outplayed Minnesota in a lot of this game, and especially I felt a lot of their puck touches in this one looked very solid. You saw Connor Garland deflecting backdoor passes with his skate. You saw Pius Suter handling pucks in the neutral zone with his skate as well. There's a lot of calm and collected play from Vancouver players. Kiefer Sherwood breaking up a 2-on-1 for the Wild as well, with a really nice little kick interception on the cross crease pass. The Canucks played well. They couldn't pull out the victory against one of the best teams in the NHL this season, but their valiant effort should not be discouraged, especially when you consider how close they were to winning it, just in general. So Vancouver drops this game 3-2 in overtime to the Minnesota Wild. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What stood out to you? Who stood out to you? Whose game do you think was the most impressive? And what were your thoughts on the overall talent on display here? Carson Soucy, I honestly do think he is starting to win me back a little bit. This game, I felt that he actually had a pretty good one. So, yeah, we'll see what happens as the road trip continues, whether or not that actually becomes a pattern here. Elias Pettersson's back. He got 2 points in this one, so he's starting to produce a lot now too. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks and the Minnesota Wild. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.